In a video not too long ago, I talked about how process is not the enemy, and that a lot of people who don't have a favorable view of process don't really understand it. So a process just turns inputs into outputs. They can be highly structured, and sometimes that's appropriate, but they can also be highly flexible. And when it comes to most of the work that PMs do, which is knowledge work, we need a lot of flexibility. But that doesn't mean we can't benefit from describing a process. So an approach that I've developed, my background is in business process management, is something called a practice. And other people use this terminology as well. And it's a process for something big and complex like road mapping. And what it does is it breaks that huge process full of discretion and judgment and all kinds of different activities that's never executed exactly the same way twice into a series of phases. And the goal is to give knowledge workers, PMs, guidance. So here you can see a representation. I've taken road mapping and I've distilled it down to a set of phases. There is a planning phase. There's a preparation phase where I gather everything I need. There's a validation phase. Now, as a knowledge worker, you don't have to go through these things in this order. You don't have to go through it sequentially. You can do whatever you want. What's interesting is I can then go into each one of these phases and I can decompose them so that I give people guidance. For example, I can say in the planning phase, these are the things you need to do. Think about the core team you need. Think about the stakeholders you're going to need for validation and set expectations with them. Set goals for your road mapping effort. During preparation, you should be updating your strategy and validating that before you try to validate your roadmap. So you can think of it very simply as maybe on a share somewhere you have a set of folders that correspond to these phases, and in those you put templates and instructions. Maybe you do it in SharePoint. I've done it in a learning management systems, and it's super effective. And the goal is to avoid a product manager coming to an organization and just facing this blank page. We can give them guidance, we can point them to resources, and we can update this thing continuously so that people have the guidance they need without having too much prescription, without telling them exactly what to do. We can show them, these are the things you need to do. And in some phases, like validation, there may be some requirements. You can make that clear. You can say, look, every roadmap before it is presented to leadership will blah, 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 whatever that is. But the upshot is this is a process. It's not overly structured. And you can describe a lot of important things that product managers do, like defining a strategy, defining value proposition statements, creating a strategy document. All those things can be described as a practice, and your organization starts moving towards continuously managing and improving its processes. I hope this was helpful.